Hello dear ones, it's Alice. I'm of the stars. Anybody there? Does anybody here speak Latin? I can sing a Latin song if you like. I can start to sing one. Ready? Okay. Wait till this. What is it that's going? A car in the sky. It's an airplane. We call it an airplane. Okay, ready? Here's a Latin song. Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus imperat. Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus imperat. Ready? Okay. They want me to wait until that plane goes over. That's what Squirrel said. I have to wait. They want to hear the whole thing one more time. It's not you personally that they're after, Mr. Pilot. It's a deep sound is all, and theirs is a light, bright, joyful sound. A happy sound in the case of the squirrel. My arm is getting tired, Squirrel. Whew. Okay. A lot of dark interference, just a ton. Okay. Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus imperat. Did you get it? I know. You didn't know, but now you do. Ready? Want to sing? Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus imperat. You guys have a nice day, Songbird. See you later. Bye. Bye. You're welcome, Songbird, and thank you for all the beautiful songs. Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus imperat. You're welcome. Thank you. Christ conquers, Christ reigns, Christ is Imperat, Emperor, in charge. in charge of new life on new earth through Christ consciousness. It'd be good to try and emulate his consciousness, I think, because it exactly suits life on ascended earth. That's what I think. You think so too? I agree. It's like the songbirds. Their lives are full of joy. And his life was like that too, full of love, light, joy, peaceful feelings. Just like the songbirds. I'm very fond of the songbirds. Christus Vincit, Christus Vincit, Christus, Christus Vincit. See you later. That's beautiful, beautiful. They just said, while the camera's down, they said, "Thank you, dear heart." And then they said, "Your dear heart was greatly out of tune." So I said, "You sing it. You sing it. I'll be listening." You don't want to? You want to practice? Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus, Christus. That's right, imperat. I could sing higher. Would it be okay? Okay, I'll try. Too low, mammal sort of sound. Need a bird sort of sound. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know if I can sing it higher. Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus, Christus imperat. You want it higher? Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus, Christus imperat. Ready? Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus, Christus imperat. That's as high as I can sing right now. You want it lower? Want it higher still? I probably can't. Christus Vincit, Christus. Wait, try again, okay. Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus, Christus imperat. What did I hear, huh? Christus Vincit, Christus. Try again, okay. Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus, Christus. I'm terrible at this. I'll try again. Christus Vincit, Christus regnat, Christus, Christus do it. You do it. Okay. That's not very good. That's not very good. Damn it all. That's not very good at all. It's too high. That's why I can't sing that high. Okay. Maybe if I point the camera upward, I can sing high. I'll try that. Ready? Christus Vincit. Higher than that? Christus. Maybe if I take my hat off, I can sing higher. I'll try that. Ready? Yeah. Christus Vincit. Christus Vincit. Christus Christus. Is that okay? Okay? It's just going to have to do. You know, I reached for the Hathors, the Venusians, high, high in the sky, the beings of light, and tried to sing very high. And then what happened was the sunshine came out. Right, cool, huh? Suddenly the world was full of light. It's the first time during my walk. And now it's going back in again. Very, very unusual. You sing to the beings of light, the sunlight comes in. Now the question is, what would happen if I sang to the beings of light in a lower voice? Let's see. I'm singing to the Hathors right now, and I'm singing for the songbirds, and it goes like this. Christus Vincit, Christus Vincit, Christus, Christus Vincit. Maybe I should try again. Christus Vincit, Christus Vincit, Christus, Christus Vincit. That time I asked the Hathors to sing for me through my voice. I'll try again. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. And I'm asking my friends, the Hathors, the beings of light from the wonderful planet Venus and the solar planes of Earth, to please sing through my physical form. Christus Vincit, Christus. Oh, that's not so good. Let's try again. Okay. Christus Vincit, Christus Vincit, Christus, Christus Vincit.
Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Absolutely. And sun came out.
Finally.
Yeah.
It feels very tropical now with the clouds and the sun. And
Absolutely, yeah.
It's beautiful. We'll enjoy being outside.
Thank you so much, and thank you for walking along this great path here. I'm sure all of the wildlife's kind of happy to see us in a way. Happy to see us show up and happy to see us go.
Yes, yes.
See the coyotes yet?
I saw them in the early morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a whole family up there.
Oh, is there family?
Yeah.
We know there's families here. We've been coming here for years. And right now is mating season, too.
Is it really?
Between January and February. I read it online.
I see.
But yeah, last year they had 3 cubs that were born here, so maybe that's some of them still together.
Yes,
you know?
I think so. There's a family. I think they lived out in the ravine down there.
There's a den over here.
Oh,
Yeah,
over
you
here.
can see
Thanks,
the
thanks for
den.
telling me.
Yeah.
It's fun. I love coming
Yeah, it's
here,
fun to
just
watch.
waiting to see who's going to show up.
I know. And so many different sorts of birds.
The birds, the squirrels.
And
Red-tailed hawks.
squirrels, hawks, all sorts of things.
And it's so close, you know, you go past this place, you don't know it exists.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
It's exactly right, yeah.
Well, you have a good day.
And you as well.
Enjoy your time.
Take care. You know, I was just thinking about how when I asked the beings of light to be there and sing through me, albeit not that successfully today, I guess they have a poor instrument here in this physical body. They're challenged, in fact. But when I asked them, the sunlight came in, you know, and it had been cloudy all day long. And suddenly the sunlight came in, and I tried again, and the sunlight once more came in. And it reminded me of an account I read of a gentleman who had communicated with the Hathors and other beings, other ETs, and he had a similar story to tell, as I recall, that it was a very dark and dismal day, and he asked one of the beings of light to prove that it was there, and then suddenly there was light in the darkness, as it were, metaphysically and also physically. You may ask how that could possibly be, unless this is just a teaching hologram that we're existing in right now. And if it were, any miracle would be possible, especially miracles of light. Oh, I can hear it now from Google AI. They're going to say, this was just a coincidence. This was just a case of synchronicity brought on by random chance. I can tell that's what the scientists would say. So what you have to do is try it many, many times and see if it falls within the realm of probability, or if it proves to you that there is such a thing as the world of spirit and the joy and love of the heart creating this reality here. Yeah. Pareidolia for the birds, they say. In other words, they say, unless it is trapped in the framework of the prefrontal lobe of a primate, it can't possibly exist. God bless you all, keep you safe, and be with you through all your days in love, light, and joy. This is Alice B. Clagett. I am of the stars, and so are you. Come and see me at my wonderful world-class WordPress website, Awakening with Planet Earth. https://awakeningwithplanetearth.com.